Blocking in itself is probably one of the most difficult skills to learn, and it's equally one of the most difficult skills to teach. Part of the reason is because the amount of time that they're actually in the air is really, really short, and it's completely reactive. So you're completely reactive in the air, and that's not a usually good recipe for success. So you got to make sure that all the principles and that they can understand can happen on the ground first, and then we can teach them in the air. It's really, really important that you can see what you're trying to stop. When I'm teaching it to the players, I always talk about baseball. It's going to be really, really tough to swing at a ball that you don't see, and blocking is going to be the same thing. So maintaining the head position, similar to passing when we're trying to get that vision, is really important. What a lot of guys do is kind of tuck their heads, mainly based out of, I believe, fear of taking the ball in the face. And so once they get through that position of making sure that they can see it and they can keep that ball in front of them and their hands in front of them, it becomes much easier to make an adjustment in the air. But I think a lot of guys tuck their heads because they're afraid of taking it in the face, and as soon as you get through that, then it becomes a lot easier to see. Good. 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 You're seeing that the whole way? Yeah. Good. Good. One thing that we're really trying to stress is, because block is so important, is that we try and stay as square as we can for as long as we can. And what we find is a lot of players, to get momentum, to get outside and turn, they turn their entire body and almost their backs to the net to try and swing it around on a swing block. And one of the things we're really trying to work on is with our core stability, we can open up our hips to get the maximization of joint still and flip it around, so we get the power, but we compromise a little bit of that by trying to keep our shoulders square so we can actually block when we're in the air for a longer period of time. It requires good core strength because you are torquing around your torso. So when your hips are opening up, you can still flip and keep your shoulders square. And then with a little bit but less lower body movement, you can maintain that equal and opposite reaction in the air to keep those shoulders square. So disassociating your hips and still being able to torque, but keeping your shoulders square for a long time, finding that balance between the two. So when we're doing our karaoke and our warm-up, I want you to do it, but I want you to disassociate your hips and keep your shoulders square as we're going, right? So one of the things we're doing is just a small little footwork drill that we do, and back, just to make sure that when we're doing it, we get that core torque and they can see it. It feels a little awkward at first, but the reality of it is, when it's in the air at full motion on the block, it's very, very helpful. In order to keep your eyes open, they need to build some trust in their technique. Most of them with bad technique when they were younger probably took a ball in the head, which was the start of that fear. So if they can keep their head up and build that trust in their technique, then there's a better chance that they're going to be able to do that when you want it to in a game. Good. Are you seeing that? Keep that head up. Hup. You see that? Yeah. Okay, keep your shoulders square to me. Hup. Good. So when we make this correction right now, I want you to disassociate your hips from your shoulders. Okay? We do that all the time in our strength conditioning with our karaoke. We got to make sure that you can open up your hips, but try and keep those shoulders square as much as possible. Create a longer blocking time. Okay? Hup. That's better. That's way better. Hup. It's not just a lack of vision when they tuck their head. There's actually a counterbalance of when they tuck their head, their arms can come back. So as they come back here, they're actually not penetrating as much. So if they keep their head up, they can actually push a little bit more and keep it in front instead of going the other way. So when they tuck their head, it becomes counterproductive. Okay? Just pop out nice and fast. Hup. Good. Push back in court. Good. Push back in court. Taking away angles. Good.